All right, today we're going to be financial detectives. We are pulling back the curtain on what I like to call the wealth theater. That big fancy show of success that, believe it or not, is keeping so many people broke. Let's get right into it.
You ever just look around and think, how is everyone affording this? I mean, your neighbor just got a brand new SUV, you scroll through social media, and your coworker's on some amazing European vacation, and meanwhile, you're just trying to make it to your next paycheck. You're not alone in feeling that way. But what if I told you that most of what you're seeing, it's just an act? So, on the surface, you see the performance. Let's invent a character. We'll call him Mark. Mark's got the expensive car, the designer watch, the fancy dinners. He is playing the part of successful guy perfectly. But behind closed doors? Oh, it's a completely different story. The reality is a mountain of bills and this constant, crushing stress. He's not rich. He's an actor, and he's financing a role that's going to ruin his financial future. Today, we're exposing that whole act.
Okay, let's dive into our investigation. And I want you to think of this situation not as an accident or a series of bad choices, but as a crime scene. And the victim? It's your financial freedom. This is the result of a system that's been very, very carefully designed.
So who's the main culprit here? We'll call it the consumption system. And what's fascinating is this system doesn't want you to be poor. Not at all. Poor people can't buy things. It needs you to be what's called a middle-class debtor. That's someone who makes a pretty good income, but spends every single dime of it, and then some, to finance a lifestyle. You basically become a profitable machine for banks and big companies, just earning and spending, earning and spending.
And this quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it. Every single payment you make on that fancy car or that house you can't really afford isn't a step towards getting wealthy. It's just another link in the chain, tying you to a job you might hate for years and years, all to pay for things you don't actually need.
Okay, so we've established our crime scene. Now it's time to look at the evidence, the fingerprints. We're going to break down 7 specific, everyday habits that prove the consumption system is at work, keeping you stuck even if you make good money.
Exhibit A, the car trap. Oh yeah, this is the big one. It's the most obvious status symbol out there. Our guy Mark, the actor, he's paying $700 a month for a car that starts losing value the second he drives it. Now, let's meet Sarah. She's our financial rebel. She drives a perfectly fine 8-year-old car that she owns outright. And that $700 Mark sends to the bank? Sarah's sending it straight to her investment account.
Now brace yourself because the math here is it's brutal. Over his 7-year loan, Mark will pay a mind-boggling $69,000 for an asset that, in the end, will only be worth about $12 grand. He has literally set $57,000 on fire. That's not a transportation choice, that's a wealth destruction machine. That one decision could be the difference between retiring comfortably or not at all.
Okay, Exhibit B is the housing prison. You know, we're always told that renting is throwing money away. But listen, buying a house for the absolute maximum amount the bank will give you, that isn't freedom. For the first decade, almost all of your mortgage payment is just interest going straight to the bank. You're basically the bank's tenant, except you also get the fun bonus of having to pay for a new roof when it starts leaking.
Now, our next piece of evidence isn't one big, flashy purchase. It's much sneakier. It's a slow, silent bleed from your bank account. These are all those small recurring charges that you barely even notice. It's financial death by 1,000 cuts.
And just look at this disconnect, it's wild. The average person thinks they spend about $86 a month on subscriptions, but the reality? It's actually closer to $273. Think about it. All the streaming services, that gym membership you never use, meal kits, software, it all adds up, and it's a massive drain on your ability to build wealth.
Habit number 4. This one's all in our heads. We'll call it the ego tax. This is that extra money you pay for status items. The fancy watch, the designer handbag. You're not paying for a better product, you're paying to broadcast an image. But here's the secret. Nobody cares as much as you think they do. Real wealth is quiet. It's in an investment portfolio. Debt? Now that's what makes all the noise.
Habit number 5 is something I think we're all guilty of, the lazy tax. It's the whole convenience economy. You know, that food delivery that costs $25 for a meal you could have easily made at home for $5? You're not just paying for food, you're paying a huge premium for convenience. You are literally eating your financial freedom one expensive bite at a time.
All right, let's talk about habit 6, the upgrade trap. So your phone works perfectly fine,
But then the new model comes out, and all of a sudden you feel like yours is ancient, slow, and just inadequate. That feeling, it's completely manufactured. It's a marketing trick called psychological planned obsolescence, and it is designed specifically to make you feel dissatisfied so you'll keep buying the next new thing.
And now for our final piece of evidence, habit number 7. This might be the most powerful one. It's using credit to fund your lifestyle today. And this quote just frames it perfectly. Every single time you swipe that credit card for something you can't pay for right now, you're making a promise. You're promising to go to work in the future to pay for something you already enjoyed. You're selling your future time, your future freedom at a really steep discount.
So, we've looked at all the evidence. We see the habits that keep people stuck. But you know, in any good investigation, you have to find the motive. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we willingly play along? Well, the answer isn't really about money. It's about identity.
And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the matter. It all boils down to two completely different mindsets. Mark, our actor, he feels rich because he spends money. His whole identity is tied up in the performance of wealth. But Sarah, our owner, she knows she's building wealth because she owns assets, things that actually make money for her. One identity is built on consuming, and the other is built on owning.
And this really forces us to redefine what financial freedom even means. It's not about looking rich. It's about having options. Real power, true flexibility, that's not a luxury car. It's having enough money saved and invested that you can walk away from a terrible boss or a soul-crushing job tomorrow and be totally fine. That is real wealth.
Okay, we've seen the crime scene, we've reviewed the evidence, and we've found the motive. So what's the verdict? Well, the verdict is your call to action. You do not have to be a victim of this system. You can start your own financial rebellion. Here's how you escape the trap.
It really comes down to these 3 steps. First, you have to kill your ego. Be okay with driving the older car, with living in the more modest house now, so that you can be truly free later. Second, every time you make a financial choice, just ask yourself, am I choosing temporary status or am I choosing long-term freedom? And third, and this is crucial, you have to shift your identity. Stop thinking of yourself as just a consumer and start becoming an owner of assets.
So there it is. The curtain has been pulled back on the wealth theater. The system is designed to keep you on that stage performing, but you have the power to just walk off. The choice is yours. Are you going to keep acting rich, or are you ready to start building something real? That's the question I'll leave you with. Thanks for tuning in.